Okay, so again, I think most of you met me. Again, we are part of the alliance team for HP. You met some of my colleague PC also. He's part of the alliance team also. Yeah. So part of topic today is that I'm going to give you also a brief introduction of my company, just an understanding of KVM, some of the usage of KVMs. And I think most importantly, we do have a refresh of some of our products around June itself. So we're going to go more in-depth in some of these products and what's the differences and such itself. But feel free to ask me any question or interrupt me anytime of my presentation. So again, about Emerson. So you heard about Emerson Network Power because you work with us, but we are part of a bigger global holding company called Emerson Electric. So me and PC actually belong to the group called Emerson Network Power. So this we are supporting into data center requirement. We are known for that and such itself. But one of our biggest unit, in fact, is Emerson Process Management itself. So they are more into system integration, doing distributed control system into processes in manufacturing and mostly oil and gas. Yeah. Apart from that, we also have Emerson Industrial Automation, Climate Technology, Commercial Residential Solutions. So you might meet them sometime as your customer also. So just a bit about Emerson. In fact, we are a very old company. We celebrate our 125 years birthday actually this year itself. So we do have a big celebration. Yep, surprising. Again, we are also part of the Fortune 500 companies. In terms of revenue itself, we have around 25 billion in global sales revenue across. And APJ has been one of the bigger growing market for us. Around 30% of our market share is over here. Our market cap is around $50 million itself. So again, we do have a very long history of working with HP. Me and PC itself, in fact, we handle relationship not just within the HP IIS group, we handle the relationship with the TS group. We sell nowadays very popular with data center infrastructure management. So we also partner with HP software with their ITSM system to go into some of the data center requirements on the software side. So again, the biggest question is of customer will always be asking you, why do you want HP KVM solution? And to be very honest, I think be it the UPS, be it the rack, again, we do command a premium. And that premium itself is not just because of the credibility of the vendors that we are supporting you, but it's also, the key thing is, in fact, the customer wanting, why they come back to you again, is always wanting to have the single point of contact services itself. So every time you buy a KVM, be I think a rack and such itself, you actually inherit the service care pack services from the server that the customer entitled to. And that's one of the key reasons. With the on-site maintenance, with a single point of contact, they come back to HP to buy the KVM and the rack and such itself. Yeah. So KVM, again, we talk about a consolidate. Most of the reason why customer want to use KVM, because they have multiple servers they want to manage, they want to consolidate to one single point of management itself. Yeah. Yeah. So again, KVM, again, that's the acronym itself is, in fact, it's just keyboard, video, mouse. What does it allow? It allows local remote management of multiple server. And it's also, I mean, within a data center, we talk about sometimes not just managing HP server, we talk about multiple vendor server in the customer environment. We talk about even networking. We talk about even like say Blade server, Unix server when they need serial management together also. Okay, so just now I think we have a very, very good video that illustrates why they use KVM. So typically in the data center, if customer doesn't use KVM, they have to use a push card, go around different racks to connect their push card into every server. So this is very troublesome. So most of our KVM that we sell in HP are analog KVM. So these are the usual pairing, LCD tray and the KVM within a rack. So most of the time, customer buy a rack, they will always buy an LCD tray and a KVM. So it's easier for, let's just say, administrator go into the rack, open the rack, go to the LCD tray and start switching to the server that is managing itself. So most of the time, we see that across the data center, they always is so-called essential item that will buy for the rack itself. So I think the question is always, we need to remind ourselves whether we are offering this as an option to the partners, or the partners are offering this option to the customer. So best illustrate, 80% of our KVM, and in fact, so in HP is analog KVM. Very, very simple setup, very straightforward, plug and play, and such is all. But what really make up a HP KVM solution? If we go very in-depth, it's how seeing at the back of the port, it's how these are what we call system ports. Yeah, these are what we call system ports itself. And typically, here is a 32 system port, which means you can connect to 32 server. Then usually you have this commonly known be KVM cable, SIP cable, a dongle. So this usually are plugged into a system port connected to the server, to the VGA port or the USB PS2 and such itself. Yeah. So some of the consideration that you do need to consider, some customer might ask, let's just say I have a KVM. How far can I manage the server away from the KVM? So that's a distance limitation. One of the reason is because, yes, correct. So one of the reason is correct. So this signal itself is analog signal. So the analog signal is due to distance limitation, there's noise interference and such. So again, what we recommended is 10 meters. It's the optimal distance. Before you start to have a lot of noise, the interaction is not very good. It can go up to 30 meters, but anywhere before that, you are more affected by all the noises and interference or the EMF within a data center and such. So that's an important consideration because. Then another very interesting thing that I don't see a lot, especially in Asia, we are always selling on this, or customers know about this functionality, is that the HP KVM can be a terminal server at the same time. So a terminal server is what you do like telnet, you do serial access, usually to Cisco switch, usually to Unix server and such itself. So again, there are special dongle that you can connect to the server, so they can manage the whole access to the network switch and the server itself using this serial access. Also a different dongle that you actually use that. Now, of course, sometimes at the back you will see like this is a local system, local port. Sometimes there's two local user ports. Sometimes there's one local. So this one is a one local user port. And of course, you can do remote access. Remote access from far, based on the IP address and such. Question? So one of the interesting observation that we always see is again that might be a lot of questions that I always hear from customer or some user and such. Why not they use ILO? Why not because it's a cheaper device and such. And why you still use IP KVM and such. So again, but we're seeing requirement, especially in the enterprise and government and banking. They are still using IP KVM and such because again it adds as another layer of security. So one of the reasons itself is probably that there's a separation of the management network and production network. You are not able to tap to analog signal as what you can do into the digital information and such itself. So there's a clear separation. So that's why I think in organization, we are still banks and government, we are still seeing a lot of adoption in digital KVM. My company itself, in fact, 80%, 90%, we are selling digital KVM. That's why sometimes you don't see Emerson KVM and such. They don't sell a lot of analog KVM. Their value added has always been digital KVM in the enterprise. But that's one area I think we can always look into the enterprise, especially data center build, where they see digital KVM as a different approach of infrastructure management itself. Yeah. So some of the things, layer KVM security model, of course, there's out-of-band management and redundancy network. And ILO, again, there are a lot of some challenges in also managing consolidation. Actually, we do have another product even on management of service processor, consolidated or service processor on our Emerson branded product portfolio. Yeah.
So my points here, additional points is, KVM is not competing with ILO. We are kind of redundancy management way for customers. Why? Because ILO, there's only way to remote access, but we had local access. It's a backup. It's a redundancy, just in case network is not working anymore. So if ILO is not working, we still got the KVM switch inside the server room. So it's one of a big backup way. And another thing about the KVM is, HP KVM does not mean only manage the HP servers. I don't care you are IBM server, you are Dell server, or what kind of a brand of a server. As long as you have a VGA port or a USB port, we can manage it. So it does not mean our KVM only manage the HP server. Of course, for ILO, it's very powerful. Even ILO can detect all the healthy data from server. That is the thing HP KVM cannot do. But what we can do is we can manage other vendors' server, PC, laptop, a serial device. So which can be a redundancy for ILO. This is the point I want to add up. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, like any product itself, our HP KVM is specially designed to work with some of the HP products. So I think one of the very good examples is that HP KVM can do. It can connect to the HP Blade server with some of the special SIP dongle cable, so that all the KVM session from each blade will appear from the KVM portion itself. So this is also one of the information sometimes we want to share with the customer if they have Blade server and such.
For the base server, I don't know whether do we have changed now already, because for new C7000 series, previously we still need to order a dongle from HP server list, so it will convert it to the USB and VGA port. Because if you only order the HP KVM then dongle, it does not able to connect to C7000 Blade server. So you have to order another. I just forgot the part number. So we can pass you the part number information after the training.
So, another of the interesting setup and such is that very common, very popular setup. Again, there are questions saying that, let's just say, because the biggest KVM in terms of system port is 32 port. Some question would be like, if you have 50 or 60 server that you want to manage together, how do you set up to be accessed on a single point? So a tiering will be one example. Again, you have a master KVM. You can use a slave KVM. So this setup, if you consider for all KVM has 32 port, you times 32, you can manage up to 1,000 over server through a single point of contact, through a single point of access itself. So this is the tiering access. And the tiering access is only have 2 levels. You can do it 3 levels. And some of the consideration is always from this master KVM to the server that you're accessing. Again, the distance is also consideration. It's up to 30 meters. So some of the setup some of the consideration of the setup need to be made. So of course, some people use it because they have like digital KVM as the master KVM and the analog KVM as the slave KVM. Because one of the things is cost saving. Because again, you can reach out to more server, but you don't need to buy all digital KVM at the same time. You can have use IP. The master one is the IP remote access. The rest you can just connect to the server they're accessing. So, of course, there are also the other way around where you have the analog KVM as the master KVM and the digital KVM as the second, the slave KVM. So you can consolidate all the LCD tray within the data center, so you can use the LCD tray to do local access to all the server that I'm managing. So 2 different types of stuff, but very popular that I see partners and customers that use this functionality. So again, another way, I think also this is lesser known. I think we also have the customer don't know. This is in fact a free software from HP. HP did this just for consolidation of KVM access and such itself. So for example, again, we come to a scenario more than 32 server that are managing 50 servers. You can use this. This is a desktop application. It's not a web-based application. But this desktop application, you add all the KVM that you're accessing itself. So again, the user can able to go into this application, click on the server that he want to access. You can do KVM access or some of the serial access. This one is so I mean, for people who don't know serial access, these are usually like command prompt access, where usually the network administrator like to use more CLI, command prompt and such itself. And or otherwise, they want to use KVM access. So again, why KVM access? Why common customer or partner question? Why don't want to use a remote desktop, the answer is that a KVM itself, you are able to access into the blue screen, the bio system and such. You don't need an agent to install on the PC to access remotely the system and such itself. Yeah. All right. So you can do whichever fixing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So again, I think the recommendation is possibly around 100 over server itself. I mean the software get support is probably over 100 over server. So this is more a simple application. In fact, what we usually, we do have a web-based software also that can actually manage unlimited itself. Yeah, so still this is still, because it's free application, there are still limitations in terms of how many servers that it can manage. Yeah, but the another product we call DSP Centralized Management Software, we can install, it's a web-based server, and that is a software that we can do user role, all the permissioning, all the IP directory and such stuff. So again, another functionality, virtual media is another functionality, and this again is in your spec sheet because certain KVM have virtual media functionality and certain dongle have virtual media function. What is virtual media functionality? Is that again, you talk about administrator need to update their server or doing patching remotely and such. They need to map their local laptop drive to the server they are managing. So again, this is where the USB pass-through or mapping can be done itself. Yeah. Okay, now we come to the more important part. So in June this year, again, we do have the new KVM refresh called KVM Console G3 KVM itself. So there are two functionality that is very different from the older one. First, again, is the ability to do LDS, location discovery services, and also the power discovery services. So again, I believe this is part of the support for the HP DCIM, the HP Insight Manager, because I think now HP always advocate about understanding your inventory management inside a so all this can be automatically detected. Where is the KVM located and where is the power located and such itself. Yeah. Through a certain technology. So we are supporting that as part of the refresh. Okay, more importantly is this portion. So we talk about, this is a new functionality. We saw it on the video itself. Is this dongle is actually give the customer to do IP enable on their analog KVM. So some customer, again, they might be thinking, hey, should I be using IP KVM, but I don't know whether I need it right now. So they might use the analog KVM first, but in the future, if they do need to upgrade to a digital, this dongle or this USB can be plugged to the USB to IP enable. And this USB dongle can be shared within different KVM also. Yeah. So this will be a very good sell, I think, to especially customers who are not decided about whether they need digital, and they think, so it's scalable for them to be IP enabled. Yeah, I just try to rush through this. Okay, in terms of KVM offering, in fact, I would divide into three. The first one is usually we call the desktop KVM. So these are usually for PC user and such as how in Japan we do sell quite a lot for some reason on this. The more commonly that we sell is always the analog KVM. And okay, but again, this analog KVM, there's an optional being digital IP remote and such itself. Yeah, it's provide the PDS and LDS support. Okay, but it can only support up to 8 to 16 target server. If the customer need more target server that they are managing, they have to go for this. Then we have another series which all the digital KVM probably more catered to the data center. I mean, something to look out is virtual media support and such itself. Okay, so again, this is available in some of the brochure I think PC have passed to you. So these are some of the things that I think customers look out for. Let me pick up. So again, some of the things that you do need to understand is also in terms of the simultaneous user from local access and remote access. So we talk about, these are the IP KVM. We talk about one L1R is usually we talk about one local access and one remote access. So again, the IP KVM have up to 5 simultaneous users at the same time. Yeah. But usually the G3, the annual KVM that's upgradable, only allowed like one remote user accessing at the same time. Yeah. And also again, in terms of virtual media support, so the new KVM doesn't support virtual media at all. It doesn't support virtual media at all. but of course, the rest of the KVM do have the virtual media functionality. So this might be a chart because of different function and such. Some customer want to get clarification or partners need to get clarification. So things that we can explain to them. Okay, so again, very important thing, at least for this these few months itself, because I think we in some countries have challenges where customer is still ordering the old model, yet by right they need to be ordering a new model. I think a lot of countries are facing that. So last month we did very bad because, but again, yes, this 616A, 617A is all EOL. The replacement model is the new G3 model, the 651A and 652A. Mm. Yeah.
The guideline is about what is the difference between G2 and G3,
Yes.
and why we should have the do the transition.
Mm-hmm.
So that the sales and customer partner to understand that, actually our price is have a little higher, but we need teach the customer and the partner and the sales to why.
Yeah. I think that's very important itself. Again, sometimes we need to craft simple message for them to understand because there are so many things. So again, part of the presentation was highlighting the difference, but how we can craft simple message that we can pass to our channel partners and the partners to the customer and such itself. So that's something I think I will work closely with Ivan on this message crafting. Again, I think part of the reason is also, again, there are other options that actually provide virtual media. It's just more choices for the customer. I think, frankly, it's just more choices for a customer, and sometimes you want to have the fast run rate item to be as lower price as possible. Okay, so just to sum up my last slide before we come to Kahi itself is that some of the advantage, very importantly, why you customer want to buy our KVM is always on the single user interface. From one single user interface, you can manage access to different server and such. Of course, some customers like the on-screen display. On-screen display is where you don't need to use your mouse, keyboard. You can access into the different options within the KVM. And of course, we talk about remote access key, allow scalability for the customer to upgrade their KVM to IP enabled. Save space saving. Again, usually we see 1U installation, but also the KVM can be a 0U. A 0U means a vertical installation by the side of the rack. We can do that also, just for some. Onboard web interface. These are very friendly user interface that they can use mouse to navigate through the menu of the KVM. So we also have that functionality. So we are also happy to announce that our KVM support the PDS and LDS.